A man's death in front of a police station and another in a local community take the country's murder count up by 2. Family and friends of the Parks family pay their last respects to the Grand Bahama plane crash victims. Plus, the Prime Minister weighs in on the newly elected F&M leadership team. We've got those stories and more coming up tonight. I'm Dana Smith, and NB12 starts right now. Topping news tonight, the murder count climbed to 108 today after a series of shootings left 2 dead on New Providence. One shooting took place on the side of a local street, while the other saw a Jitney operator drive his dying passenger to a local police station. Police are now appealing to the public for information that can lead to the arrest of the perpetrators. Simone Davis has the story.
After 3 separate shootings that occurred hours apart earlier today, 2 males were pronounced dead on the scene, while police are left to investigate if the incidents were related. It was an emotional scene today as family members and friends looked on as their loved ones were lying lifeless after being shot. Chief Superintendent Clayton Fernander told reporters it was just after noon police got a call about gunshots in the Nichols Court area of Yellow Elder. They arrived and found a young man in his 20s on the side of the street with multiple gunshot wounds.
Sometime shortly after midday, police got a report of gunshots in the area of Nichols Court, Yellow Elder. We responded and met the lifeless body of a young man, appeared to be in his early 20s, lying to the side of the street with multiple gunshot wounds to the body. EMS personnel visited and pronounced him dead.
Fernandez said neighbors reported the incident after hearing gunshots and seeing a heavily tinted vehicle roaming the area.
What we awakened with, neighbors only heard gunshots and saw a vehicle speeding off. When they checked, they noticed that the young man was lying to the side of the street. Description on the vehicle, all we awakened with at this time, it's a Honda Accord, Champagne Honda Accord, heavily tinted. No number obtained at this time.
Shortly after that, police got a call about another shooting farther east on Nichols Court. These incidents bring the murder count for the Bahamas to 108.
Shortly after, we got a report of a second shooting just further east on Nichols Court, where a bus was unloading some persons on that junction. When same description of vehicle pulled up, a young man came from the passenger side armed with a handgun. He approached the bus and fired a shot at an individual in the bus where he was hit. The driver later drove to the Grove station to report the matter. EMS personnel responded, a young man was shot, and they pronounced him dead here at the Grove police station.
An hour before those murders, police were on the scene of another shooting at Marathon Mall. Fernandez said 2 young men were shot at. One of them was hit.
Shortly before 11 a.m. this morning, 2 young men, they were entering the mall from the eastern parking lot at that mall when a gray Honda vehicle pulled up, individual exit and fired a number of shots at both young men. One of the young men was hit to the back area. He was taken to the hospital where he is presently being treated at this time. We don't know the motive at this time, but we have officers on the ground there doing some investigation.
Police are appealing for information on all matters, but Fernandez couldn't say yet if the shootings were connected. Assistant Commissioner of Police Stephen Dean said that police are concerned about what's happening in Yellow Elder.
Based on it, it's obvious that we are having several incidents, particularly in the Yellow Elder area, which are of concern to police. Despite our best efforts, the troops on the ground, we are still being blighted by incidents of shootings. What this requires now is a whole community effort. because I can tell you from the police, we have spent no efforts on the ground. We have mounted several operations. We have just done an operation in the Yellow Elder. We arrested a number of persons. I mean, it's obvious that something is wrong on the link. We have to look at the community leaders. We are now appealing to community leaders in that area, pastors, parents in particular, that we must come together. They must want better for their community.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Simone Davis.
Family and friends said goodbye to the family of 3 who died earlier this month during a fatal plane crash in Grand Bahama. A packed homegoing service was held at Bahamas Faith Ministries International this morning as hundreds paid tributes to the young family. Jasmine Brown was there and filed this report.
Hundreds gathered to say their goodbyes to the Parks family in a ceremony that was filled with emotion. The family of 3 perished on November 9th after a plane crash on Grand Bahama. BFM youth pastor Lavard Manifest Parks, his wife Riddell, and their 5-year-old son Johannan were traveling to Freeport with their pastor and BFM president Dr. Miles Monroe for a leadership conference when the private jet hit a crane at the Grand Bahama shipyard. Riddell was pregnant with their 2nd child. During the upbeat ceremony that featured some of Lavard's original music, family members reflected on a man who loved music, a woman who always expressed her creativity, and a little boy with a permanent smile. The younger Parks and his father shared a casket, a testament to their bond. Among those bringing remarks were Lavard's brother Lincoln Parks and family friend Corridon Hanna.
I know you, Riddell and JoJo, are with Mom in heaven dancing on the streets of gold. Just talking about the good old days. As if his older brother, that I was his protector. I protected him from fights, protected him from the bad decisions I had made previously, protected him from bullies, helped him when he was learning to ride his bike, made sure he got to class safely, and made sure that he did his homework to the best of his ability, and made sure to strive that he would always be different. The kind of leader that was always a different type of leader.
I say to the Parks family, the Hanna family, the Gibson family, the Pierre family, today we mourn. Today we mourn. We mourn the loss of loved ones. We mourn the loss of a husband and his wife. We mourn the loss of a father, a mother, and their children, and what they could have been. A brother, a sister, a cousin, a nephew, and a niece. We mourn the loss of friends, leaders, heroes. But on that great day, whenever it comes, we will all dance together in peace and joy and love.
Those who knew the couple spoke of their commitment to God. Apostle Carlos Reed of the Hope Center and senior pastor and founder of Bahamas Harvest Church, Mario Moxie, also paid tribute to the young family.
I want us to be reminded of one thing, that God is sovereign. Everything that we've been taught up to this point, I found out that it was a bunch of lies. We've been taught how to prepare for success rather than failure, how to prepare for life rather than death. I believe that we have it some way backward, because one thing is eminent inside your lives is that you're going to die. One thing is also eminent in your life, that you will experience failure. You might never get to experience success, but you will experience failure. So I want us to use this incident, this tragic as may seem, as a footstool in helping us to look at life from a different perspective, where we start to prepare for those things that we know going to come, because live you may, die you must.
One of the last things that Riddell, in her pursuit and her relentlessness, she kept pushing me. She always felt as though Bahamas Harvest Church should have a TV program, and I kept telling her, no, 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 Riddell, no. Well, just about a week or so before they went to heaven without letting us know they were going, we decided that we were gonna start a TV program. And the thought occurred to me that Riddell, even though she's in heaven, she's still trying to tell me what to do.
One of the pilots of that aircraft, Farkan Cooper, was laid to rest last week. The other pilot, Stanley Thurston, will be buried tomorrow. BFM Pastor Richard Pinder's funeral is scheduled for next week, as is the homegoing for Pastor Miles and his wife Ruth. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Prime Minister Perry Christie is weighing in on opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis's recent victory at the Free National Movement convention. Christie said he wasn't surprised at all by Minnis's victory, and although they are political opponents, he doesn't think the new F&M leadership team should be taken lightly. Kyle Joaquin reports.
Although on two different ends of the political divide, Prime Minister Perry Christie has come to the defense of opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis, saying he pretty much expected him to emerge victorious in last week's F&M convention. And he said Minnis, neither his deputy Peter Turnquest, should be underestimated. Since he beat out his former deputy Loretta Butler-Turner last week to retain his post as leader of the Free National Movement, Minnis and his new deputy Peter Turnquest have been widely criticized as political leaders. Prime Minister Christie says in looking at the team of Minnis and Turnquest, he's somewhat reminded of when he started his own political career.
Clearly, right, he may not be as articulate, he may not be as colorful, he may not seize the moment, but he in fact got where he got because he succeeded at what he was doing. And I would never underestimate him, not for one moment.
The F&M leadership race saw for the first time a woman contest the leadership seat. During his leadership campaign, Minnis found himself at times defending his style of leadership and speaking ability. However, Minnis managed to get more than double the votes of his opponent. Christie said that in seeing what they are capable of accomplishing, no one should have to question Minnis or Turnquest's intelligence.
People said he shouldn't win, he can't do this. And, all right? But listen, a person cannot be a board-certified gynecologist and surgeon, American board-certified gynecologist and surgeon, and be uneducated. You cannot be one of the most successful young businessmen in the country and be uneducated.
He said as a veteran politician, he learned to never underestimate anyone.
The one thing, my political successes and political mistakes taught me that I must never underestimate anyone in this regard, and I must always prepare, and I'm always prepared. Trust me when I say that, always prepared, always prepared.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
The work to rule ordered by the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union for BEC employees has come to an end, at least for now. Director of Labor Robert Farquharson has agreed to represent the union in an attempt to intervene in the ongoing war between the union and BEC Executive Chairman Leslie Miller because of his refusal to sign a new industrial agreement. Union President Paul Maynard says he's glad someone stepped in so he wouldn't have to deal with Miller anymore.
If we don't work overtime, right, BEC cannot function. It just cannot. As much is said and made about overtime, I keep telling you all that the equipment is archaic, and if we don't keep on working to fix the faults on it, the system is going to shut down. So if we withdraw our labor, the system is going to shut down. It has to. It's archaic. People have said that I come across as arrogant. It's not arrogance, and if that's the perception I have put out there, I apologize for that. It's annoyance, is what it is. It's more annoyance than anything else.
BEC employees went on work to rule and refused to work overtime on Tuesday after the chairman said he will not sign what he called a proposal and not an industrial agreement. Now, as for how long the union will have to wait for the matter to be resolved, Maynard said not long at all.
I expect the government to have it solved Monday, Tuesday, the latest.
And if not?
I expect him to have it solved by Monday, Tuesday, the latest. Listen, Kyle, nobody has called me, the Prime Minister, nor the Deputy Prime Minister, nor the Minister of Labor and says, we got this, we find something wrong with this. Nobody. The only person that has something wrong with it is the chairman. All right, okay. If the cabinet of the Bahamas don't have something wrong with it, why should you? That's what it boils down to.